Hey guys, Mark here at the Wildlife Center at Refreshing Mountain. Today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about rattlesnakes found in the western United States. We have several in our collection. I'm going to be highlighting 3 today. Rattlesnakes are found only in the western hemisphere, so North, Central, and South America. In the eastern United States, we only have a handful. We have the famous eastern Diamondback rattlesnake, 2 different species of pygmy rattlesnake, the eastern Massasauga, and the timber rattlesnake, which is found all throughout the East Coast. Once you get into the western United States, the number of species just explodes. New Mexico and Arizona especially have all kinds of different rattlesnake species. Once you get down into Mexico, there's a whole lot of different species, and then of course Central and South America have rattlesnakes as well. So let's get into the 3 that I'm going to highlight. The first one is one of the most famous rattlesnakes, the western Diamondback. We'll see if we can get a decent shot here for you. He's kind of hiding under his rock crevice there. And of course, he's always moving around, so you might get a better look if you come out and do a wildlife center tour at some point. Up above the rock, you can actually see his rattle there. They have kind of, we call it a coon tail, that black and white banding on the tail right before it gets to the rattle. These guys are highly venomous. They inject a ton of venom. There's some species of rattlesnakes, like Mojave rattlesnakes, for example, are more toxic as far as the venom goes, but they don't inject as much of it. So with these guys injecting so much venom, it makes them a very dangerous snake because of how large they are. They look similar to the eastern Diamondbacks found in the eastern U.S., but the eastern Diamondbacks are much more yellow, and their colors are a little more vibrant. The western Diamondbacks vary a lot. Sometimes they're more of a pinkish color or even more of a gray color than this. Very common, very widespread, and a lot of the snake bites in the U.S. are from western Diamondback rattlesnakes. They, of course, also, on the East Coast especially, copperheads are probably the main culprit for different bites, but in the western U.S., a lot of western Diamondback bites happen. And thankfully, with our anti-venom that we have in the U.S. and with medical treatments that we can do with treating snake bite, there's only between 5 and 10 deaths a year from venomous snake bites. That's not a whole lot at all. Of course, very serious medical emergency if a bite did happen, but the chances of you dying are very low if you're here in the U.S., as long as you're able to get to a hospital in good time. So that's our western Diamondback. We'll go up here now to our Sidewinder rattlesnake. Look at that tongue flicking. Really cool. A lot of people don't realize some snakes have different colored tongues. This guy's got a solid black tongue. Some species have pink tongues or red tongues or blue tongues or all kinds of different colors, but this guy has a black tongue. Sidewinder rattlesnake, of course, they get their name from how they move throughout the sand. They do this sidewinding motion. Now, that's something that you won't get to see if you're here doing a tour. So in the next couple weeks, maybe I'll make a video of that so you can actually see what that looks like. It's pretty interesting to see the Sidewinder do that. The main reason that they do that is because the deserts where they're found in get so hot that if they're going to be going across the hot sand, there's such a small snake, they would actually burn if they crawled, kind of the way that your typical rattlesnake would. So they do that sidewinding motion, so only certain parts of their body are touching the sand at any given moment. They're not the only venomous snake that does that. There are a couple other sidewinding vipers or adders found in Africa and over in the Middle East and Western Asia as well. They're not rattlesnakes, but they are vipers, and they do the same thing for the same reason. Now, most of the day, sidewinders are actually found buried under the sand or in rock crevices to cool down, but they have that adaptation, which is really incredible, to just move sideways across the desert if they need to get from one point to another. Beautiful little snakes. There's 3 different subspecies of these guys right now. So there's the Mojave Sidewinder, which is found in Southern California, the Arizona Sidewinder or Sonoran Sidewinder, and then also the Colorado Sidewinder. So mostly found in Arizona and Southern California though. Let's see over here. So this guy may be my favorite rattlesnake that we have. He's just a little one. Let's see. It's not gonna be a great shot for you guys. There you go. So it might be a little hard to see, but it's called a banded rock rattlesnake. You don't get to see these guys quite as often in different facilities, so we're really excited to have one. Beautiful species. These guys are cool because they're found mostly in New Mexico, and they come in a lot of different what we call localities. So every major mountain range in New Mexico has different localities of these rattlesnakes. They're the same species, but they're genetically isolated. So the color patterns and things like that vary from different mountain ranges throughout New Mexico. So this one's from a specific locality in New Mexico, and was captive bred by a friend of ours who works professionally with rattlesnakes. And really cool species. You know, a lot of these smaller rattlesnakes they're still dangerously venomous, but they're not necessarily as toxic as, for say, the Western Diamondback or some of the other larger species that are out there. So that's a little bit about some of our rattlesnakes that are in our collection right now. We of course also have our timber rattlesnake. We have a black-tailed rattlesnake that's in the back right now, and we're always looking to add more interesting animals. So if you get a chance to come out and see the Wildlife Center this summer, you may see these three, you may see 3 different ones, who knows. But we'll always have rattlesnakes here for you guys to enjoy and learn about. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.